This is Trishta Dordi for Showbiz India at the premiere of the movie Sold in New York City, which tackles the hard-hitting subject of child trafficking. Let's take a look at the red carpet. Definitive moment for you that you decided that this book by Patricia McCormick needed to become a movie?
Well, I read the book in one sitting, literally, and I was sobbing and laughing. It's such an intimate, beautiful story. But I literally started optioning the book the following day after reading it. ECPAT International estimates that 1.8 million children are trafficked every year, and the global average age of a trafficked child is the same age as the lead in our film. They're 13 years old. That's the average age, whether you're in U.S., India. You know, it's an extraordinarily horrific statistic.
Give yourself fully. That's how a goddess serves a god. From now on, sweetheart, you will do what men tell you and smile while you do it till all your debt is cleared.
The character in the film is named Lakshmi. And Lakshmi, you know, you think of Lakshmi as the goddess of wealth and abundance, but actually she's also the goddess of interconnection, of relationships, and we're all one family. That's how I see it, and we all are responsible for the children of the world. So please come to soldthemovie.com, join us, become part of the solution to end child trafficking. We can do this if we come together.
Now, after 5 years, I'm going back home.
5 years? Can you talk to us about what inspired you to write this book?
I spent about a month in India and Nepal interviewing survivors, interviewing mothers who'd sent their daughters off for what they thought were good jobs. The heartbreak was almost unbearable to witness. But what did move me was the resilience of the girls that I met who had been rescued. And they went back up into the little villages in Nepal to tell people what happens when their daughters are sent away for these supposedly good jobs. And they are determined, these girls, to have a second chapter to their lives. They're not going to let that define them.
What message do you hope that viewers and readers alike take away from this?
That there's something we all can do. That we can't just be bystanders. Now that we know about this, we can't sit still and just let this happen. And we can vote with our wallets by making contributions to the aid organizations who help these girls and these families. And we can be careful about what we buy and make sure that child labor or bondage labor isn't involved.
I just can't get her out of my head.
I think one of the most powerful things that we all did to prepare for the role was meeting with survivors. And that was a very moving experience. I think for me, when you see Anita, hopefully you'll see that she's a very resilient character. And meeting those women was very powerful. One of the things that sort of really touched me with the organizations that we're working with are that if you educate a girl until the age of 16, the chance of her being trafficked drops by 80%. And that is a ridiculous statistic. To think that we could prevent 80% of girls who would be trafficked just by educating them is really powerful. So we've also launched the Talk Not Traffic campaign. I just hope that people get behind the movie.
Can you talk a little bit about the partnerships that you have with certain NGOs and what they're doing to help stop child trafficking?
Yes, we are partnered with APNIAP, Women Worldwide, and Ruchira Gupta is a force to be reckoned with. She's been on this issue for 30 years or so, and they're all over India. They're in Delhi and in Calcutta, and they're rescuing, rehabilitating, finding safe homes for girls. They do a lot of vocational training as well, and so we're supporting 3 different things. Education, so we want to prevent trafficking through education. APNIAP, Mighty Nepal, Sunlap, a lot of the organizations that we're dealing with are grassroots on the ground in India and Nepal doing these things. And then vocational training and healing to help girls heal once they're out of the life to be able to move on and have a life of their own.
got to get out of here.
You know, when I went to Shonagachi, which is the brothel, and this is the main brothel area in Kolkata, I met a lot of. They were not children there. We didn't really meet children, but there were women who were children when they were trafficked. So there are these horror stories to tell, a lot of which were not in the film. So the information or the stories they told me, they stayed with me as an emotional memory. They became part of Mumtaz. And the fact that I was hearing stories told by other people, and then I was becoming that person. So from the victim, I was becoming the abuser. So it is a very difficult journey. I can't say it was easy at all.
How is a child susceptible to human trafficking? What are the methods that are used to lure them in, and how can they get out?
You know, one of the biggest issues is poverty, of course, because poverty puts these children at a vulnerable state to begin with, and the parents oftentimes sell their children not knowing that they're being sold into prostitution. But attacking poverty with that, you need to educate these children. If they are educated, if they stay in school, there's an 80% less likely chance of them being trafficked. And those are huge numbers. When you look at the fact that there's 1.8 million children in slavery, 80% of that could be stemmed as long, if you just educated a child. So if we do nothing else, I think we really want to tell people to help make education possible for children around the world.
Can you tell us about what this red sand symbolizes?
The red sand symbolizes all the children and young people that disappear in between the cracks into human trafficking, whether it's labor or sex slavery. And so it's a project. The redsandproject.com is a way to bring awareness about human trafficking through art, just like our film Sold. SoldTheMovie.com is a way to bring human trafficking into everyone's awareness, so that we start doing something about it as a global community.
Well, that was an exceptional movie. I encourage you all to go see it. Visit SoldTheMovie.com for more information.